Thank you for Dalia, thank you Stefan, and thank you guys to come after this exhaustive excursion. So my name is Chang. I'm working at the moment in Beijing in China Academy of Urban Planning and Design. This is a national policy advisory and research center. Belongs to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Rural Development. So today I'm going to talk something about one of my projects. This is urban acupuncture and the sustainable revitalization of historical district in Beijing. I have one case study that the name is Dashilar. I will introduce later. So last year, I initiated a research-based project concerning revitalization of historical district in Beijing. And the name of the project is Sustainable Revitalization of Historical District. And the project site is called Dashilar. So the historical district, according to the legal document released by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Rural Development in China in 2002, it refers a certain territory that conserve a number of historical building, monument, and the local cultural tradition. So at the moment, there are around 40 historical districts in Beijing. This is a map of Beijing. And or not the map of Beijing, but the center, very center area of Beijing, and more than 500 historical districts in all of China. But all these historical districts are more or less confront some problem like degradation of physical environmental and the insufficiency of service and facilities, and also the question of how to carry on the traditional history and the culture in the process of urbanization in China. So the purpose of this project is fourfold. First one is to identify the current problem of revitalization strategy in historical district. And the second one is to establish a framework for understanding social cultural phenomena that can be used in tandem with quantitative information to conduct more comprehensive urban heritage analysis to inform future urban planning practice. And the third goal is to conceive a new plan for regenerating historical district that can act as a model for other places in China. And the last one is to advise several different projects as an experimental. And this project is funded by China Development and Reform Council and the McKinsey Group and Columbia University. And it is also associated with Beijing Xicheng Municipal Government and the Dashilar Investment Company. So before I go to the detail of this project, I want to mention a little bit of the background on why Chinese government and our founder put a lot of effort to support our project. This background is the urbanization in China. So in the last 3 decades, the China's urban population has already reached by more than 500 million people. This is equivalent of American plus 3 Britain. And China's cities is the home of more than half country's people. So the China's urbanization is one of the most biggest human movement now at the moment in history. And the China's urbanization process is of particular importance for 2 main reasons. First one is speed, the second one is scale. It took 6 decades for China's urbanization to expand from 10 to 15%. And the same transition took 150 years to occur in Europe and more than 200 years in Latin America. And I can show you some statistics. In 2011, the Chinese the Chinese migrant population reached already 216 million people. And the new National Urban Planning Plan from 2014 to 2020 proposed to move another 250 million rural residents into the city within the next 12 years. So the Chinese government promised to build more buildings and provide more infrastructure and facility to hold the people in the city. So this is what you hear in China at the moment, like a better life, better dream, better future, and this is a China dream. It sounds very promising. But all this reality about the migrant people moving from the rural area to the big city, it lead one result. So the city need more land to construct the building to let all the people stay inside. So if you already have been traveling in China or Beijing properly, you already see this kind of picture. And the government plus the developers, they just level off a lot of historical districts, because all these historical districts, they are located in the best region inside the city. So this is in the very center of Beijing. This picture was taken like 1 year ago, and they are trying to level off all this urban heritage. So next year, if you are in Beijing, you will never see all these historical buildings anymore, but a very new commercial complex. And this is also the same problem in Beijing, and also this. So the result is, then you will see the same style of concrete and steel building risen up in China, in a lot of urban center where all these urban heritage located before. So many cities look very alike in China, and most of the city has very similar buildings. So one day, people return to their hometown in China will not recognize their home anymore, because everywhere look very, very alike. So if you walk around in China, you will see more and more similarity than the difference. And this one of the main problem of this emergency is loss of the identity of the city in China. A high standard and quality of urbanization in China should not lose city's identity. And this picture I show here is several months ago. One local government, they came to us and bring this master plan. They want us to remove one of their historical district, but build like a resident complex like that. But we told them this is probably not a really good idea. But it doesn't happen one time on us. There are so many like local government, they have a similar concept. And this historical district in China just implies city's identity. That is why we are doing this research and project, and why at the moment the Beijing municipal government and our founders think this topic is quite important in the process of this urbanization. So the research site called Dashilar. This is a very famous historical district in Beijing. In the history, it is Beijing's center business district already for 600 years, and it's located close to the Tiananmen Square. This map shows the very center of Beijing. So you can see this small right square is where the Dashilar located, and it covers around 1.27 square kilometers. It's holding 56,000 people, and it consists more than 99 hutongs. The hutong is this narrow alleyway and also courtyard historical building monument. It's a very remarkable and lovely area in Beijing. And it is also one of Beijing's oldest neighborhood with the largest variety of cultural environment, like full of intangible cultural heritage, a community-based lifestyle that already exists for centuries. And it used to be one of the most vivid and lovely district in Beijing. And in this small, narrow alleyway, you found all these different business or the lifestyle. And this, for example, the men who are providing this service to repair the bicycle. And it's not only a service. People know each other, they sit here together and they can talk. It's kind of a life pattern. But since the beginning of 1980, Dashilar doesn't present a high-quality living area anymore. It's facing many problems. The first problem is a high population density. And Dashilar has a population density like 44,000 people per square meters, but Beijing's average density is 7,000 people per square meter. It's like more than 6 times over the average density. And also the most of the inhabitants here are the low income population in Beijing. Also other problems like lack of public infrastructure and no central heating, no fast internet, no public toilet, because in this region there's no constructed sewage, thank you, system, and a very bad transportation connection, and also declining the environment and outdated business type. There's one of the most important problems is the local resident. They are lacking of any motivation to participate in this renovation and revitalization activity in the Dashilar, because they have no idea when their home will be leveled off by government and the developer. So why they should invest anything on rebuild their place? They are just sitting there and waiting for governments to give them the compensation and let them to move out. So the conflict between the government authority and the local community in this region, you can observe like every month. Particular many developer, they want to take this region to construct a commercial center or a resident complex. Even some of resident, not the migrant resident, but the original resident who have been living here for many generations, they even don't want to keep this place because they see there's no future in the Dashilar. So, but this problem is not only happening in Dashilar, but also the reality in other historical districts in Beijing and all over China. So how should the safeguarding of the old building and the inhabitants' tradition be structured together with the city's new functions, and how to keep the local identification under the wave of urbanization? How can sustainable revitalization project be successfully carried out with appropriate means? And all these questions challenge the revitalization work in Dashilar. Actually, in the beginning of 2000, the local Dashilar government used to consider adopting a revitalization strategy called tabula rasa development. This is one of the typical Chinese style revitalization strategy in China, which used to be very popular instrument in last several years. It usually includes the following 4 steps. First of all, government appoint certain territory as a historical district based on certain evaluation criteria. And once this region is identified as a historic district with heritage value, then the local community and the inhabitants who are living here are required to move out of their home and settle down in some other place in the city, with receiving very small amount of compensation from government. And then their house and other historical architecture building are either destroyed or renovated with the purpose of construct more modern architecture with the to attract more commercial business. And in the end, after everything reconstructed, the government offer incentive to attract the business owner to come to this area to open their business. So this is what we call government lead or top-down market-oriented regeneration process. And this strategy has been very, very popular in practice for Chinese government in the last at least 30 years. But in recent years, it has been criticized so much by the citizens and the public. And the result of this strategy, very obviously, it makes all the area look the same. So, and it doesn't concern community's life at all. So, yeah, this is the picture I already showed you after this Chinese style revitalization patterns. But this is what we don't want to do in Dashilar project. So what is the strategy that would be most effective for preserving Dashilar? And in this project, we try to identify and implement alternative development model for Dashilar. So in the last several decades, China always adopt Western philosophy or strategy to preserve urban heritage. We are thinking, is there any traditional Chinese philosophy also would help? So before I introduce the development strategy we developed for Dashilar region, I would like to show you a traditional Chinese medical skill, that is acupuncture. So this acupuncture already has a history of more than 2,000 years in China. And the theory of the acupuncture holding that the human body acts as a small universe connected by a lot of channels in human body. And that by physically stimulating all these channels, the practitioner can promote the human body's self-regenerating function and bring the health back to the patient. And this stimulation involves the insertion of the needle into all these channels on the human body. So its aim is to restore the body's balance and prevent the disease. So based on this rationale of acupuncture, so we decided to use the theory of urban acupuncture to guide the revitalization strategy for Dashilar. And urban acupuncture is an urban environmentalism theory which combines urban design with traditional Chinese medical theory of acupuncture. And this process uses small-scale intervention to transfer the larger urban context. So the sites are picked up and selected through an analysis of social, economic, and ecological factors, and developed through a dialogue between the designer, community, government, and the different stakeholders. So based on this theory of urban acupuncture, we decided to replace this conventional tabula rasa development with what we call the nodal development strategy in Dashilar. This nodal development strategy here refers to a revitalization strategy would renew the area with a flexible nodal network and connect the social, historical, cultural, and urban aspect of the whole area. And this nodal development strategy view Dashilar is a living and breathing organism. It replaced the concept like a large top-down and a mega intervention that normally require heavy investment of government, but use a small, subtle, bottom-up intervention to improve the whole Dashilar. So on the one hand, it really need government to have a better understanding of the existing community, business, environmental, transportation infrastructure. This is always the duty of government. But on the other hand, it encourages the local resident and the business owner and other shared social resource holder to work and collaborate together. It doesn't intend to remove any life pattern in the historical district, but in the same time, it ensures the Dashilar will remain is relevant to the modern society. So based on this, the strategy we already proposed several, sorry, this is the slide. So we proposed several micro-intervention projects in Dashilar's empty building as a test to see what we can achieve. So I would like to show you several of the projects which already implemented in Dashilar. This one, we call it a plug-in project. If you are interested, you can search online also. This is one of the heritage architecture restoration project. It aims to help the low-income resident to improve their living condition. And you can see this is what it looks like in the courtyard. Normally, it's a very, very messy situation. And in one courtyard, it is supposed to stay like 4 families. But with some historical reason, normally one courtyard could have like more than 10 families. So they have very, very limited space. Every family just grabs all the space they can get in the public space inside the courtyard and put into their stuff. So the architect team, they try to first of all to save to keep the historical structure of this courtyard, but in the same time, it also want to solve some problem like heating preservation and the moisture. And you can see how they finish the project after we implement the project. And inside, they put this prefabricated modular system. And even they build up this online and the package. It is one very convenient, like a guiding book. Even the people who doesn't really have the knowledge of building house, as far as they follow the guidebook, they can make this like a molecule house inside. And with this small window, you still can see the original structure of this courtyard, but more convenient life inside. And they even put the independent toilet. And here is also another concept project for the public toilet in Dashilar. And based on the cooperation with the urban anthropologist and the architect, they work together and try to solve this problem of sewage system. So, and this is a project to try to search for the possibility of creating an art space within the limitation of the super tight courtyard. And this is another project also concerning the public space. And this space in Hutong is normally, this project is very interesting because Hutong is not designed for this modern transportation vehicle like cars and a motorbike or a scooter. But at the moment, like everyone driving the car, so every time you walk inside this hutong, it's really disturb like your movement. Every time the car will pass by you, and you have to move, shift a little bit. And so the designer and designer group, they try to transfer this small space for the parking place into a linear green park. And because in the hutong, normally you don't find any public space anymore. All this space already given to the parking, like the car and the scooter. And in the end, they also built this kind of small facilitate to put the bicycle. This is the shape, actually it's a car. They want to tell people that the one place you park a car, actually you can put several bicycles there. So all these sustainable projects, and here are also some social projects in Dashilar. We try to promote and let the local resident to understand what we are doing and why we want to revitalize and regenerate this region, and hope can motivate also they're willing to participate in some project. And we also propose and to ask the local government and also developer to produce this kind of this instrument, and can tell the people and even the tourists where are all these projects located. So all these sustainable projects focus on the local resource rather than the capital-intensive municipal program. And each part of the stakeholder in the project, including business, local authority, community, they contribute different information and their resource in the project. So in the same time, they get different needs from the project. It also requires an expert from different fields to understand the situation and to participate in the project. So all these sustainable projects serves as the needle that revitalizes the whole Dashilar by hitting the part. This is how we use this urban acupuncture theory, very similar to human bodies in the like use the needle to insert all these channel in acupuncture theory. So we think the sustainability of urban heritage is a sustainable development in a physical perspective, but in the same time, it should be sustainable lifestyle experience as well. So people should still stay in the environment where they are belonging, but of course have a better living condition. And we want to build Dashilar as a historical district to encourage and engage people and different stakeholders to understand about sustainability and motivate themselves into participate in the revitalization activity. So this is what we did in the last 2 years in our project. So thank you very much. And